Whoa, y'all, that's another episode. Today we got Curtis Giovanni Flowers, a man that was wrongfully convicted in the state of Mississippi, one of the worst American legal tragedies ever I ever heard of or whatever. My mom always followed like Dateline 60 Minutes, and when I told her who I was interviewing today, she couldn't believe it and stuff like that, man. I feel so bad because I'm more to show stuff like this was going on hundreds of years before you in Mississippi, and Mississippi always had this black eye over America and the systematic racism and stuff like that. So I just wanted to talk about your story, and I'm glad that you was letting me even interview you today, Mr. Flowers. So how was it growing up in Winona, Mississippi? Because I know that was the same place that Fannie Lou Hamer was actually jailed and beaten, because before that she was going to a voters education meeting, and then the police beat her and locked up in jail. That's the same town you're from, right?
Yes, it is.
So how was it growing up for you in that small town? I think it's like 4,500 people.
Yes, Winona was okay. You know, there is some racism, but pretty much growing up, you pretty much stuck to yourself, you know, relatives and stuff like that, you know. We didn't mix a whole lot back then. But, you know, today, you know, Winona is still the same, but there are a lot of good people out there in Winona.
So is Winona like most black people might stay on this side of town and most white people might stay on that side of town? Is it something like that? It
used to be that way back in the day, but now it's kind of mixed now, you know, because Winona is like over 45% black.
Right.
So it's a mixture right now.
Right. But it's better than it was when you was arrested that day.
A lot better than it was back then when I was arrested.
Wow. So how many brothers and sisters do you have? How many siblings do you?
I have 4 sisters, 1 brother.
Okay.
So it's 6 of us.
Okay. And how was it growing up in your great mom? I know you always talked about your mom.
My mom was my rock, man.
And Lola.
Yeah.
Miss Lola May Flowers. Well, yeah. I know that flower.
Lola. Edith.
Edith.
Flower. Yeah.
Well, that's one of my aunties my mama aunties middle name too, Edith. So your dad named Mr. Archie Flowers. So how was it growing up with those? How was your parents growing up?
It was real wonderful, man. You know, my mom, dad, they used to take us on family vacations every summer. You know, they always taught us right and wrong. You know, my dad had this thing where he said, well, you treat people the way you want to be treated. That way you never go wrong, because nobody wants to be mistreated.
Right.
Yeah, and my dad, you know, he's a good man.
Right.
Sang gospel, you know, stuff like that.
And I heard you say before that your daddy had a beautiful voice as a gospel singer. He was even better than you, because I know you used to sing too. I seen old videos with you singing in the church. So
and
your family
still better than me. 80 years old.
Wow. So how is now? I mean, I know we're gonna get to that later too, but how is it now just to be able to be back with your dad and kick it with him?
It's a wonderful feeling, man. To
wait a long time.
Sit around, laugh, and talk with him, and look at my hate. I miss, you know, I didn't get home in time for my mom.
Right.
Because she passed away in July 2018. I came home in December 2019.
And how did your mama pass?
My mom was diabetic.
Yeah,
you know,
I had that.
She was on the dialysis. Stuff like that. I'm diabetic.
I heard you talk about that when you was in Portsmouth too. So what schools did you go to when you was growing up in Montgomery County?
Winona High.
Winona High.
Yeah.
Winona High. And like I say, you was singing and stuff like that. So the crime and all that stuff took place at Tardy Furniture Store, right?
Yes.
It was a Tardy Furniture Store. And I know they said it was a quadruple murder. People heard on the news. It was Robert Golden, Carmen Rigby, Derek Stewart, Bertha Tardy. That was the owner of the store. How did you hear about the news and stuff like that of the crime? Because I know it was probably
I heard about it through law enforcement when they came to question me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And like you said, I know you were shocked, and I know your parents were shocked knowing that, man, we didn't raise our son like this. This is not our background. Like, he wouldn't do, this is crazy. Like, a crime like this heinous in that town.
Yeah.
I know it shook everybody up. And I'm more than sure that a lot of the police that arrested you probably was trying to say, we got witnesses that saw you and we know you did it and all that.
It was they claimed there was a lot of people that said they saw me that morning here and there, but I'd have to be Superman to be in all them places.
Right. All the time.
Dressed differently.
Right, because everybody probably had different stories or different real accounts of what they remember, and it wasn't.
And I don't believe that people even thought they saw anything until they saw the little reward posters posted out. You know, everybody was trying for that money.
Oh, so once the money popped up, then everybody got news, everybody got a lead and all that.
People that didn't even know me knew me then.
People probably all the way from Jackson, Mississippi, all the way from
saw him
Gulf Coast and all that. I was down there. Man, that's crazy how people, like you said, and you know, so like you said, the detectives threatened you with the eyewitness and stuff like that. So before that, you didn't have no type of criminal record.
No criminal record.
Wow.
Never been even locked up before in my life.
And I remember somebody was saying before, I think I heard a DA say in New Orleans, he was like, most criminals build their jacket. They usually be them with the jail for this, that, and they work their way up to that.
Exactly.
They don't just come from this to that. You know, so that was kind of crazy when I was like a quadruple murder, somebody never had a jacket, come from a good family, gospel singer, to a murder, like that was crazy though. And you used to work there before,
Yeah, I
right?
worked there a few days.
Right, because I know they was trying to say like he worked there, he was mad with the lady. I'm like, somebody not going mad over
and all that.
Yeah, so it sounds like for somebody to get that mad over a job like that, to do something like that, that's kind of like really outlandish. So when I heard it and I read it, I was kind of like, that's kind of crazy, whatever. So why you think Doug Evans had a personal vendetta out on you?
You know, to this day, I still try to reason in my mind, you know, why would he just pick me like that? Right. You know, and I've heard so many stories about Doug Evans. You know, he's a racist. He marched with the KKK and stuff like that. And you just an easy way out.
Right.
So he don't have to do his job.
I was saying that too. I said, man, this man have to have a Grand Wizard uniform somewhere in his office. Because for somebody to keep coming after somebody like a raging bull and just won't stop, it's like once he locked in on you, he couldn't see nothing else. He just, like he might have had pictures of you all in his room.
All in his room, just staring at it at night.
I hate this man, but I ain't gonna let up. I'm not gonna let up. They're gonna have to pull me off this case. I'm not gonna stop. And then I know it was a high profile case, so I guess he probably felt like I'm gonna get a lot of media attention. There's 4 people are dead, so this gonna get big media attention on CNN and World News. So he like, this could help build and propel his career. Exactly. Because a lot of prosecutors be so career driven, and you just happen to be the person that was in the way of him becoming the man he was trying to be. Unfortunately, or whatever.
Because I heard he's running for judge now.
Right, and I seen that, and I seen they said they had reelected him in 2019. But it's crazy though, because Mississippi just taking the Confederate themes out y'all flag after all these years. So it makes sense that they would elect somebody like him again, because it say a lot about some people in Mississippi. Not all, because I know you know some good people, but that still say a lot years later. Like I said, no real physical evidence. No physical evidence at all. The gun they had, they were saying, when I was looking at your appeals, they was talking about they didn't even hand that stuff over. You know, the exculpatory evidence that they could have handed over, they didn't do that. They had other witnesses that came forward. They was trying to hide all that.
True.
That's crazy. Like you said, how the DA was going so hard or whatever. What I want to say, what was going through your mind the first time when you got convicted of this murder or whatever and stuff like that, and they sentenced you to death? Like, what was going through your mind?
It was a big shock, man. A whole lot of things were going through my mind. I felt that everyone knew me, knew of me, and this would get all straightened out soon, you know? But it took 23 years.
Right.
23 years.
And I know a lot of times people, moms and all that, be trying to keep you in good spirit in your family, and they be saying, man, it's gonna be all right, you're gonna work through the pills, you're gonna get his back. But a lot of people in prison be like, man, it's not as easy as you think. This shit gonna be a long road. And I ain't never seen nothing like I said. They tried 6 convictions. 2 hung jurors, and I noticed when some of the jurors was hung, it was because more black people was on the jury sometimes, which Doug Evans was always trying to strike down them or whatever. But it was 4 times you got convicted out of the 6, 2 hung jurors, and then the 7th time the Attorney General in Mississippi, Flinch, didn't want to try no more or whatever.
Exactly.
That was crazy. So how was it when you went to Portsmouth? Because I know a lot of people seen the movie Life with Eddie Martin. That's kind of funny, but that's the actual prison that you was in, where everybody they was wearing stripes when you was in there?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, they still wearing stripes?
Red, black.
So you was on death row, so what colors y'all was wearing?
Red, solid red.
Right, the people, and they know y'all on death row because y'all were red.
Red all the time.
What was going through your mind being on death row? And I'm more than sure you was probably locked down a lot, and y'all probably on the come up. So what is a day like on death row?
A day on death row always sucks. You know, you there, you don't really know if you're gonna get a yard call. And if you do, you go out to the little pen. Every inmate on death row has a pen to himself, where you just You just walk around in this little pen, you know, for about an hour, then they take you back in. But death row itself, Parchment itself, was inhumane, I call it. You know, the roaches, the rats, you know, and the stuff like that, you know, the plumbing. It was just terrible.
It was ridiculous, and that's crazy because I was looking at some Jay-Z and Yo Gotti was advocating for. I don't know if you probably was in there when they was doing that, and they was trying to get the prison shut down and just bring a lot of attention to it. And I got a cousin that was in there, and they had moved them because they trying to, I guess, shut certain parts down. But like you said, it's inhumane, the mosquitoes, the plumbing. I seen it on CNN, and I'm like, damn, like the gangs in there and all that. The guards don't have no control. It's like, how could people be safe? And your loved ones trying to fight to come home, but they might get hurt before they even get
hurt, killed right there in Park.
Wow, that's crazy. And that jail been around a long time, and it's crazy, whatever. Stuff you had to go through, whatever.
It is.
Yeah. So that you was tried for the 6 murders and, like I said, the trials and stuff like that. The jailhouse informants, they had so many of those people coming with lies, and then some of them, I don't know, one of them probably passed away. Other guys was in different prisons, would say they was around you and you was on death row. Like, how could this guy even be around me? That's ludicrous.
I'm on death row.
Right. And then you got other people, a lot of them really recanted their statements and took it back. I guess they got deals or something people offered them. Doug probably.
That's what it was.
Wow.
That's what it was.
Speak about that. Like
Odell Hallman, you know, one of the state's witnesses, you know.
Right.
He testified against me. Said that I told him I killed those people. And I'm looking at, like, who is he?
Right.
If I had a confession to make, why would it be to him?
Right, out of all people.
Yes. Yeah, but he was one of the state witnesses. You know, Doug used him until he used him up. Odell kept getting him out of jail, and Odell went out there and killed almost 4 people.
He got out of jail and killed 4 people? Wow.
He killed 3 and almost killed another, but he survived.
Right.
He was paralyzed for a while, but now he's back up and walking.
Damn, that's crazy. For him to go through all that stuff like that.
Now he's stuck in prison for the rest of his life.
And this the person that they feel like a credible witness. But he wasn't nothing but a snake the whole time, wolf in sheep clothing.
That's it.
But he was doing the will of Doug Evans, which Doug didn't care anyway, as long as it make him look good, whatever Doug said.
He stated in his word, I scratched his back, he scratched mine.
So Doug was a real puppet master too.
That's true.
a real damn crook. I mean, I know, like I said,
that's a good way of putting it too.
I know, because it was, and like I said, now you could kind of say how you feel about him after he had so much to say about you, and you couldn't say nothing, and people lying on you. You had to be quiet in court and just listen to them say all that stuff. So now you can really say how you feel about them. How do you feel about Max Mays and what he did for you and what he promised your mama?
Max, awesome guy, man. You know, Max gave it his all, and he did a lot of things.
And Max was a detective, for people that don't know.
Yes, investigator, and Max was a good investigator too.
Right.
You know, I enjoy him. I still talk with him. Hopefully one day we get to go fishing or something together. But yeah, Max is an awesome guy, man, and I'm thankful for everything he ever done for me.
Right. So how you felt like going through those trials, knowing, like I said, they saying prosecutorial misconduct, racial discrimination of the jury, or whatever, and then the Supreme Court will get it, in Mississippi they'll reverse it.
Yeah.
And they have to look at it again, they'll try it. Then the Supreme Court will say it was wrong, they'll send it back to Mississippi, let them try to fix it, but then they'll still affirm it, and they're like, no, we gotta do this, because they're not gonna stop. We gotta get this man out here.
Man, that was so nerve-wracking, you know, and I feel that once you catch a prosecutor in the act of doing something outside the lines of his job or the law, then he should be removed from that case.
Right.
And he's shown then that he can't be trusted, and you don't leave him on the case.
Right.
That's
over and over and over and over and over and over.
You have to be pushed off the case instead of doing the right thing, you know?
And still have a job. Like, how could you still have a job?
Exactly.
How could they trust?
I think they should start, every time a prosecutor do a thing Doug Evans did, I think he should serve whatever it was he gave that defendant, and so he can see what it's like himself. Right,
to walk those shoes, whatever, and stuff like that. Because you're putting people's families through that, and you playing with people like it's a game. And if he did that, it's so many other prosecutors throughout the country that do the same thing every day. They just never got a chance to really probably get their stuff out there like you, Mr. Flowers. But it's a lot of people that go through that same thing.
That same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, how can you vote for someone who's running for judge that you know is crooked in the heart?
Right.
man, you kiss your children goodbye, because the first time one come up before him, they're going away.
Now, what does that say about people that do say, I want to hit the ballot for a Doug Evans? What do that say about them as a person?
Exactly. How can you vote for such a person? How can you support such a person?
Right. Yeah. It says a lot about that person too, because like I said, if you can vote for that person, it says what's in your heart and what you believe in.
Yeah.
And that's not right or whatever and all that, because that man is not doing nothing but being a corrupt person.
Exactly.
Using his power and abusing it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please listen to the facts. Do not vote for Doug Evans.
Right.
Not for no municipal court judge.
How do you feel about...
That's a disaster.
How do you feel about your legal team? And I mean, you call them what, the Dream Team?
Dream Team.
Why you call them that?
Because they were just an awesome group of people, you know. I've had numerous lawyers over the years, you know. Some not like the Dream Team I had together, you know. They're resourceful. They do their own stuff. They don't depend on the state to really get things done. They do it themselves.
Right.
And I love that, you know. And I think if there are some guys I've met during visitation on death row whose case deserved to be looked into.
Right.
You know, and I've heard it, I've read it myself, and just don't feel they should be there.
Wow. Yeah, I know you said some people, like you said, do definitely deserve another chance, and they never really got a fair shake. How that was when you saying when you had the diabetes and you was trying to go to the hospital and you had to sit in that, then you get back sick and stuff like that in Parchment.
It's rough in penitentiary because if you don't care for yourself, they don't care. You have to get outside help to get to the hospital, stuff like that. And you know, they think ibuprofen and the little extra Tylenol is the
remedy
cure
for
everything.
Everything.
You know?
Right.
You go in there and you pneumonia, give him a couple of ibuprofen, you'll be all right.
I remember Chris Rock mama said a joke about that. Chris Rock was talking about his mama. He said everything happened. Her mama said, put some Robitussin on.
That's it.
You fall off a bike, you get shot, put some Robitussin. You're sick, put some. So everything, they think one pill could cure everything, and they really don't.
One pill cure everything.
You said something before too that was kind of, it was funny when you not looking at it now, when you were saying, when I was in there, I had to save like little simple things that we might don't pay attention to. Saving the season pack for your noodles and stuff like that, because you might need the season food later. So you keep all that stuff like that.
You keep that stuff. You know, you can't go to the grocery store when you get ready. So those type of things, they come in handy, and they are really valued in Parchment.
Right. Yeah. I know you probably wish you could eat some of your mom's food or whatever, you was able to get back up, but you couldn't. But what was something that you ate that you really wanted to eat something when you first got out of prison?
My mom, she could cook everything. But my mom had this banana pudding. She used to always make, man, I fell in love with her. The strawberry cake she used to do for my birthdays all the time. But my mom could cook fried chicken, fish. She does it all. She did it all.
She got me getting
Yes, mine.
She got me getting. How did you
cakes and stuff like that? My mom did it all.
How did you feel when you got out? Like, I mean, because I know they said the last time you was able to get your bond, and then somebody helped with your bond, and you got out and you was on house arrest with the ankle monitor.
Yeah.
And who? And they had like family that helped you out and stuff like that to help get your bond. So, how was that when the Attorney General Flinch was saying that she wasn't going to try you no more, and you got out? How did you celebrate, like, with your family?
Let me tell you, I was in Plano, Texas at the time.
Okay.
When they came on and dismissed my case, I think I got over 15 lawyers. And I was so happy, man, excited. I took a shot with each individual on my legal team that day.
Wow.
But it was like a weight had been lifted off of me, you know?
Right.
And we celebrated, man. We drank wine, and I think my brother-in-law and I, we stayed up to like 2, 3 in the morning. We ended up at not IHOP, but what's the other breakfast place? Waffle House.
Waffle House, yeah.
We ended up at the Waffle House, and man, you know, trying to eat and sober up.
Right.
But we enjoyed ourselves, and you know, I got to come back home, see my dad. You know, I like I said, I miss my mom, but my dad is still here, 80 years old, you know. Suffered from a little bit of Alzheimer's, little Parkinson in his left arm.
Right, like Muhammad Ali had.
Yes, but my dad, man, he's a cool guy. We live his day to the fullest. We sit around, we talk, catching up, you know, singing together, just sitting on the front porch.
Right, all the things you wish you was able to do, but all that got took away because Doug Evans and his career-driven vendetta against you.
Exactly. Over 23 years of my life.
And how was that too? Because like I said, I know being on death row, you really confined. You really don't get to go outside and be around a lot of the population. So just being back, because I know your cousin was telling me before that you would just drive far. You just love to drive and go places. You'll probably drive from here to New York right now, and you just so glad to be home and just moving.
Man. That's why I was saying I'll be back right back here next week.
Right.
But I like to get out and live every day to the fullest. Because it's something, you know, when you behind the wall looking out, you know, you see these things, you know, things I took for granted. My grandmother used to sit on the front porch all the time. She just rocking that chair and just watch traffic just go by. I said, Grandma, there's got to be something better to do. This is so bored. And she said, no, I love just sitting here and, you know, enjoying the air. Since I come home, I do the same thing now.
And what your grandmother's name was?
Miss Ruth and May Campbell.
Miss Ruth and May Campbell.
Yeah.
She's
sweetest grandmama you could have.
So sometimes you might sit on a rocking chair and now you know the enjoyment she had.
She would take a little knife out and she would just carve her apple and she'd just be eating and she'd just be rocking.
Right.
I said, this is all you got to do.
Right. But now you might sit in rocking chairs and just be like, I see what she was talking about.
Yes.
Like, just the peace of mind and simple things that people take for granted.
I do the same thing now. You know, sit around, my pocket knife. I'm peeling kiwi though.
Right.
Because I love kiwi.
Right.
But man, it's a glorious feeling though.
Yeah. I always talk to my brother, and he always said that, like, you know, people take for granted just being able to go to the refrigerator and get a drink. You can't do that in prison. You gotta wait, sit down, you know your DOC number.
Can't walk into the kitchen and make your hamburger, you know.
Right.
You eat what they give you and that's it.
And I see you like sports and stuff like that, football. So who your favorite football team is?
Cowboy.
Yeah,
I couldn't say that out there.
Yeah. So I ain't gonna lie, I always kind of like the players, but Deion Sanders was my favorite football player. So, you know, at one time, he was in Dallas and stuff like that. Like I said, I really appreciate, you know, your time and, you know, effort. And like I said, I know you told me before, people say you were resilient. To me, you are, because you kept fighting. Because when most people probably would have gave up, committed suicide, couldn't handle the time, you kept fighting. You was like, I'm not about to take no deals. I'm not a guilty man. That's not going to be on my back. We going to fight. And I'm going to fight for all the people that probably got railroaded before me.
Exactly. My dad used to have this saying, we don't give up, we give out. And as long as you got breath in your body, you shouldn't give out.
See what I'm saying? It's already your family. So you come from a family of fighters.
Exactly. Man. So I just kept pushing on and pushing on.
Fight them like Joe Louis, Ali, all of them. Get them off.
Stick and move.
Knock them off. Well, like I said, thank you, Mr. Flowers.
Thanks for having
me. Appreciate your time and opportunity to interview or whatever. GDP, we out.
All right.